Hi, I'm Addie Knight, and today I'll be playing an RD, and John, my brother, will be playing my patient. Alright. Hello, Miss MG. My name is Addie Knight. It's nice to meet you.
Hi, Addie. It's nice to meet you as well.
It is my understanding that you're experiencing some GI upset. I'm sorry to hear about that. That must be very difficult for you.
Yes, it has been very difficult. I am finding it hard to eat because of the discomfort, but I am very hungry and thirsty and missing many of my favorite authentic Mexican dishes that my family eats together. We eat all of our meals together. I live at home with my 5 children, my husband, and his mother.
I can tell that your discomfort is impairing your ability to enjoy mealtime with your family. Due to your symptoms, we are going to try to administer nutrients to you through the use of a peripheral line. By use of a peripheral line, we can bypass your GI tract and therefore cause you less discomfort. How do you feel about that?
I usually use folk medicine to treat my ailments, and it works for me. My husband said that we could try this only because my symptoms have been so severe, but if it doesn't work, we will return to our folk healer.
I understand your concern. It sounds like folk medicine has worked for you in the past. Thank you for your willingness to try this new approach. We will be administering your diet for a few days via peripheral parenteral nutrition. You will also receive fluids via an IV line. Once you come off PPN, I will sit down with you and we can discuss your usual diet and evaluate if there are any changes we can make to improve your health status.
Thank you. That sounds great.
A few days after PPN. Hi, Miss MG. It's great to see you again. How are you feeling?
Hello, Addie. It is great to see you again as well. My nausea and vomiting have completely subsided, and I no longer feel disoriented or weak.
That is great news. Now that you're feeling better, how would you feel about going over some of your labs, anthropometrics, and diet history with me?
That sounds like a lot, but okay.
It may seem like a lot at first, but if it begins to get too overwhelming, we can stop at any time. MG, what do you know about the health risks of being overweight?
Well, my father has type 2 diabetes, and his doctor said it was because he was overweight. Is that true?
In part, type 2 diabetes can occur from being overweight. There are some other factors that come into play as well. Would you mind me sharing some information with you about the risks of being overweight?
No, not at all.
Being overweight increases your risk of disease like heart disease, cancer, and type 2 diabetes. Right now, you have symptoms associated with diabetes that can be reduced by losing weight. Nutritionally, your diagnosis is altered nutrition-related laboratory values with a blood glucose of 205 milligrams per deciliter, related to potential organ dysfunction as evidenced by elevated blood glucose concentration. What other questions can I answer for you about that nutrition diagnosis?
So are you saying that I am overweight and because of that may have diabetes?
According to your BMI, you have a score that classifies you as overweight. You do also have symptoms associated with diabetes, yes.
I don't understand. What is BMI?
That is a great question. BMI stands for Body Mass Index, and its calculation is used to determine if an individual is underweight, normal weight, overweight, or obese.
What does my BMI classify me as?
Right now, your BMI does classify you as being overweight with a score of 29.3. To achieve a normal, healthy weight, we would like to bring your BMI down to around 24.9.
How can I bring my BMI down?
In order to decrease your BMI, you must also decrease your weight. The ideal weight for someone your height is around 140 pounds, which would indicate a weight loss of 15 pounds. Is losing weight something that interests you?
I guess. Up until now, I've never thought about losing weight. I've always been a little heavier. I never thought of my weight affecting my health.
While it is true that you are not severely overweight, your weight does concern me. Your BMI does classify you as being overweight, and this is affecting your blood sugar levels, which is high at 205. Your admitted blood sugar level is 225. A normal blood sugar is considered between 70 and 110 milligrams per deciliter. Additionally, you had altered lab values upon admission with a high BUN, serum creatinine, serum albumin, sodium, elevated hemoglobin, and elevated hematocrit. Fortunately, all of these lab values normalized within the same day, after we were able to provide you with fluids and alleviate your dehydration. Many of these levels can be thrown off due to dehydration. Your blood sugar is still a concern of mine, however.
Blood sugar? Doesn't that have to do with diabetes? Doesn't that mean I have diabetes? I've watched and cared for my father with type 2 diabetes, and I don't want to get that. He lost his leg. I am a farm worker, and I won't be able to work anymore if that happens to me.
I'm sorry to hear about your father. That must have been very difficult for you. I can tell that you're concerned about some repercussions that come along with untreated diabetes. Although it does not appear that you have diabetes, you do show signs associated with prediabetes, like excess hunger and thirst, disorientation, increased urination, dehydration, and a history of overweight. And your risks are greater considering you have a relative with diabetes. There are some precautionary measures that we can take to prevent the onset of type 2 diabetes, like losing weight. Losing even as little as 5 to 10% of your current weight can help offset the incidence of potential disease associated with being overweight, like diabetes.
Wow, that doesn't sound too hard. Tell me how to lose weight.
It is obvious to me that you are interested in losing weight to benefit your health. On a scale of 0 to 10, with 0 being unimportant and 10 being very important, how interested are you in losing weight?
I'm a 10. I have got to lose weight so that I don't get diabetes. How can I lose weight and fix my blood sugar levels?
How about we start by looking at your typical food intake? What do you typically eat in a day?
Well, for breakfast, I usually eat 2 corn tortillas, 2 eggs, a pastry, and a juice of some kind. For lunch, we only get a short break at work, so my husband and I will go to McDonald's typically. We like their fries and hamburgers. I will usually drink a soda at lunch. When we get home from work, I will have a snack of a pastry before cooking dinner. For dinner, we usually eat Mexican food. Pork tacos on corn tortillas are a family favorite. I have to leave the cheese off mine because it upsets my stomach. We usually eat the tacos with rice and beans as a side dish. I do eat some vegetables on the tacos though, like lettuce, tomato, peppers, and onions. I drink water all day, especially when working on the farm. It gets so hot out there.
I can imagine that it does get very hot working outside all day. I commend you on drinking so much water. Water is not only a great dehydrator, but it has the ability to reduce your blood glucose levels by diluting your blood. It is also great that you make an effort to incorporate vegetables into your dinners. Your diet recall has shown me that you are probably receiving in excess of 300 calories per day beyond your needs. How do you think we could reduce these excess calories?
Well, I don't really need the pastry in the morning. I usually feed them to my kids. The box comes with 6 pastries, so after I distribute them to the 5 kids, I just eat the last one so that it doesn't go to waste. I guess I could save the pastry until the next day and give it to the kids. Plus, I already have a pastry at snack, too. I don't want to give them up all together because I enjoy having a sweet treat during the day.
That sounds like a great idea. By cutting back on the amount of sweets you consume in a day, you can reduce your calories and blood sugar spikes. So you are setting the goal of reducing your pastry intake to 1 per day instead of 2?
Yes, I think that would be a good way to reduce calories. Plus, I really don't even need the pastry anyways. I'm always so full after breakfast.
Great. And looking at your typical lunch intake, you say that you drink soda at lunch. Can you tell me more about that?
My husband and I frequent McDonald's because it is close to our work. We go inside to eat. I usually fill up my Sprite one time before we eat and then fill it up again before we leave.
So you typically consume 2 Sprites per day at lunch?
Most days, yes.
What is the likelihood that you could reduce your soda consumption to 1 soda per day instead of 2? Instead, as you leave McDonald's, you could fill your cup up with water at the soda fountain instead of Sprite. Is that a feasible goal?
Well, I guess so. I never thought of doing that since I paid for the Sprite. I think I could reduce it to just 1, though. Will that help me lose weight?
We discussed eliminating the pastry from your breakfast and reducing your soda consumption. Making these 2 modifications can reduce your calorie consumption and therefore assist in your efforts to lose weight.
It may be difficult at first, but I'm willing to give it a try to benefit my health.
That is great. I understand that making any change is difficult. The benefits seem pretty clear. Can you think of any downsides to making these dietary changes?
Come to think of it, I can't think of any downsides to this plan. I feel pretty good about it.
We have already weighed your desire to lose weight on a scale of 1 to 10. Using the same scale, how confident are you that you can make the changes necessary to lose weight?
I'm about an 8.
An 8 is excellent. What can we do to raise your confidence level to a 10?
Honestly, to get to a 10, I may need to stop buying pastries altogether. If the food is sitting around, I can't help but eat it sometimes.
Sweet treats can be very tempting, but an 8 is a strong confidence level. Would you like to first see if you can avoid the foods at home before deciding to eliminate the purchase of them?
I think that's a good idea. If I stop buying them, my kids may revolt. I would need to think of a good replacement for the pastries before mixing them all together.
A replacement for the pastries is a feasible option. We will readdress your confidence level at our next appointment, and if needed, we can address some potential replacements for the pastries. How does that sound?
That sounds great. Hopefully I can refrain from eating them and we won't have to think of another option.
I understand that you work on the farm, and that must be very labor intensive. Aside from that, do you participate in any physical activity?
I work on the farm 4 days per week, and I am so exhausted when I come home and have to make dinner for the kids. It is hard for me to fit in physical activity on days when I work.
Completely understandable. It must be challenging to manage working and taking care of 5 children.
It is exhausting.
On the 3 days that you are not working, could you find the time to participate in physical activity?
I guess. I never considered making the time for it because I'm always trying to catch up from the days that I work. If I had to, I guess I could make time for it.
Getting physically active is a great way to manage your blood sugar by encouraging the uptake of glucose into your cells. In doing this, it can also reduce spikes in blood sugar. Secondarily, physical activity can reduce hunger and burns calories, so it will help in your efforts to lose weight. What kind of physical activity do you particularly enjoy?
Being physically active can do all of that? I had no idea. Maybe I should try it. As a kid, I was very active. I used to be on the track team. Though I do not think that I can run anymore, I could possibly take some walks. It is really nice to get outside.
Walks are a great way to get your physical activity in. That's a great idea. How often do you think you can take walks per week?
Well, I'm off work 3 days during the week. I don't know if I am prepared to walk all 3 days in the week, so maybe we can start with 2.
2 is a great starting point, and like I said, this will also be a great way to manage your glucose levels. What is your confidence level that you can partake in walking 2 times per week?
Well, I think about an 8 again. I feel pretty confident in myself.
An 8 is an excellent score. What can we do to increase your confidence to a 10?
Provide me with a few more hours in a day. The only thing inhibiting my confidence is time. I am willing to try it, though, and hope that I can make the time.
You sound very confident and encouraged. At our next meeting, we can reevaluate your confidence level and address if any changes need to be made to enhance your level of confidence.
That sounds like a good idea. I think I should be able to manage it, but who knows with 5 kids running around.
Completely understandable. So to recap, we decided on eliminating your pastry at breakfast and to reduce your soda consumption to 1 at lunch instead of 2. And we also decided to incorporate walks 2 days per week on your days off work to monitor these changes. To monitor these changes, I will reevaluate your labs after you meet with your physician next week, specifically glucose by a blood test to check your blood sugar and your A1C. I will measure your weight with standard weight techniques and your BMI at our next visit. I will also monitor your symptoms associated with diabetes like thirst, hunger, frequent urination, and fatigue, by having you keep a journal of any alterations in these over the next 2 weeks. Additionally, in order to assess your dietary and physical activity intake, I would like for you to keep a journal of your dietary intake and physical activity over the next 2 weeks. Do you think that keeping a record of your thirst, hunger, fatigue, changes in urination frequency, as well as keeping a record of your physical activity and food are feasible?
Well, it does sound like a lot of work, but I can do it at night when I sit down to have some quiet time. Plus, it's only 2 weeks, right?
Yes, only for 2 weeks. At that point, I would like to reconvene. How does scheduling our next appointment in 2 weeks from now sound to you?
Let me look at my work schedule and see if I can fit it in. How about September the 3rd?
September the 3rd is great. We will reconvene then. I'm looking forward to it.